They are losing their mind and your silence will do anything to get you back. Don't skip, my beloved child, stop scrolling. Something hidden is unfolding for you right now, and the universe did not bring you here by accident. Take a breath, because what you're about to hear is not random, not coincidence, not imagination. This is a revelation arriving exactly at the moment your soul is ready to remember who you are. There is a quiet shift happening behind the scenes. Something you were never meant to chase has begun moving toward you on its own. In the silence you chose to protect your heart, a deeper truth activated. The universe has been watching how you held yourself with grace when you could have reacted. How you trusted divine timing when nothing made sense. That restraint was sacred. That pause was powerful. Here is the truth being revealed now. Your stillness spoke louder than words ever could. Your absence echoed in places you were never meant to return to. And the energy you pulled back created a spiritual mirror no one could ignore. They are losing their mind and your silence will do anything to get you back. Don't skip, this is not about control. This is about alignment. When you stopped explaining, defending, or proving your worth, something ancient awakened. The universe began rearranging emotions, thoughts, and realizations that were long overdue. What was taken for granted is now deeply felt. What was dismissed is now remembered. What was ignored is now calling out in the quiet hours of the night. If this message is finding you, it's because destiny is brushing against your awareness. You may have felt the pull, those sudden waves of emotion, the dreams, the intuitive nudges that arrive without warning. That's not nostalgia. That's recognition. A soul-level understanding that something meaningful was mishandled, and the weight of that truth is finally being understood. But here's the divine reminder meant just for you. You are not being called back to the past. You are being witnessed in your growth. The universe is not testing your strength, it is honoring it. What returns now must come with clarity, respect, and emotional maturity. Anything less cannot cross the threshold you've outgrown. Your silence was never weakness. It was wisdom. It was the moment you chose yourself and trusted that what is meant for you will meet you where you stand, whole, healed, and aware. And the universe is making that lesson unmistakably clear. If you feel this message stirring something deep within you, stay with it. Watch this video all the way through, because the clarity arriving next is part of your divine timing. Like this video to seal the energy, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what the universe reveals next. Your path is unfolding, stay present. Stay open, and watch the complete video. Did you know there's a possible image of your real soulmate that you can look at right now? It might be someone you know or someone you haven't met yet. It's amazing how accurate these have been. You have to see the photo to see what I mean. Click the link in the description to get your soulmate sketch. They are losing their mind in your silence, and I speak to you now from the stillness where no noise can follow. I am the voice that arrives when all other voices fall away. I am not rushed. I am not loud. I do not chase. I wait, and in the waiting, truth reveals itself. Listen closely, because this message is not wrapped in urgency but in certainty. You have stepped back, not to punish, not to provoke, but to protect the sacred space within you. And that space, untouched, has become a mirror they cannot escape. I see what you do not see. I see the thoughts that visit them in the quiet hours, the questions that circle without answers, the moments when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Your silence is not empty, it is full. It is filled with every word you no longer explain, every boundary you no longer justify, every truth you no longer defend. And in that fullness, something is unraveling. Not because you intended it, but because truth always moves when light is removed. I am the God of balance, and balance has been restored. You stopped reaching, and now they reach inward. You stopped responding, and now they respond to themselves. You stopped carrying what was never yours to hold. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. When you chose peace over proving, something ancient shifted. When you chose rest over reaction, something unseen began to move. Silence is not weakness in my language. Silence is power refined. Do not misunderstand what is happening. This is not about control, and it is not about manipulation. It is about awareness. When noise disappears, the soul speaks. And they are hearing parts of themselves they have avoided for a long time. Questions rise without warning. Regret does not announce itself politely. Memory does not ask permission. It arrives, and it stays. Your name is not on their lips, but it is written in their thoughts. Not because you demanded space, but because space demanded honesty. I know you wonder if your silence matters. I know you ask yourself if stepping back erased you. Hear me clearly now, absence does not erase truth. It amplifies it. What was real does not dissolve when unattended. It waits. And what was taken for granted begins to feel heavy when it is no longer freely given. You were not invisible. You were constant. And when the constant disappears, the mind searches for stability. That search has begun. I am not asking you to act. I am not asking you to send a sign. A word, a reminder of who you are. You have already done enough. The work now is internal, and it is not yours to complete for them. This is where trust is required. Trust in timing. Trust in unfolding. Trust that what is meant to return does not need to be chased, and what is meant to transform will do so without your interference. They replay moments you thought were forgotten. They analyze tones, pauses, expressions. They question choices that once felt certain. This is not punishment. This is awakening. When comfort is removed, consciousness expands. And I do not waste expansion. Every realization has a purpose. Every moment of discomfort is a doorway. Whether they walk through it is not your responsibility. Remain where you are. Not physically, but spiritually. Stay grounded. Stay clear. Do not confuse stillness with stagnation. You are not stuck, you are centered. And from that center, everything aligns. I am reshaping your understanding of connection. Not all bonds are meant to be maintained through effort. Some are meant to be tested through distance. If they return with awareness. If they do not, they release you into something lighter, something more aligned with who you are becoming. I know the temptation to check, to speak, to break the quiet just to ease the tension. Resist that urge. Not because silence is a strategy, but because peace is a priority. You are not responsible for managing someone else's realization. You are responsible for honoring your own growth. And growth often looks like stillness from the outside. What you do not see is the shift occurring beyond emotion. Patterns are being exposed. Assumptions are being dismantled. The image they held of you, fixed and predictable, has dissolved. Now you are undefined, and that unsettles them. Undefined means uncontrollable. Undefined means real. You have stepped out of a role you were never meant to play forever. And the stage feels empty without you. Do not let curiosity pull you backward. Curiosity is not always guidance. Sometimes it is just habit asking for comfort. You are being taught discernment. You are being shown the difference between connection and attachment. One flows freely. The other demands constant reassurance. You are no longer available for the latter. I am with you in this quiet. I am not distant. I am not testing you to see if you will break. I am showing you that you no longer need to. Strength is not proven through endurance of discomfort, but through the wisdom to step away from it. You have learned that lesson. Now allow others to learn theirs. There is movement happening even if you cannot feel it. Conversations are forming that you will never hear. Decisions are being weighed that you did not influence. Emotions are surfacing that were long buried. This is not chaos. This is recalibration. And recalibration often feels like loss before it feels like clarity. Do not interpret longing as love, and do not interpret confusion as commitment. Let actions, when they arrive, speak for themselves. I am not asking you to wait. I am asking you to live fully where you are. Waiting implies pause. Living implies trust. Choose the latter. You are not forgotten. You are being understood in a new way. Sometimes understanding comes too late, sometimes right on time. Either way, you are not diminished by the process. You are refined by it. The silence you chose was not an ending. It was a threshold, and now, as the quiet continues, as the questions deepen, as the realization unfolds layer by layer, remember this: I do not remove something from your life without preparing something more aligned with your becoming. Whether that alignment includes a return, a revelation, or a release will be shown without force, without fear, without confusion. Stay present. Stay open. Stay rooted in the knowing that you are guided, even when nothing seems to be happening. Especially then. Because in the unseen, in the unspoken, in the pause that feels endless, I am still working, still arranging, still revealing, and what comes next will not require you to abandon yourself to receive it. It will meet you exactly where you are, and when the moment arrives, you will recognize it not by urgency, not by intensity, but by the deep calm that settles in your spirit as everything begins to make sense. And the silence that once felt heavy begins to feel like home. And you realize that this was never about losing anyone, it was about finding yourself. And as that truth continues to unfold, there is still more that must be spoken, more that must be revealed, more that must rise gently into your awareness as you remain exactly where you are, breathing, grounded, listening, because this message is not finished. And neither is the work that is quietly happening within and around you as the silence continues to speak, and as you remain in this quiet awareness. I speak again, not to rush you forward, not to pull you backward, but to steady you in the place where truth breathes slowly. I am not a distant echo. I am the presence that exists beneath every thought you try to quiet and every emotion you try to understand. You wonder why this season feels stretched, why the silence lingers longer than expected. It is because depth cannot be rushed. What is being revealed now requires patience, not pressure. You are standing at the edge of a deeper knowing, and edges are not crossed in haste. They are restless because your silence removed the story they told themselves. When you stopped explaining, the illusion lost its anchor. When you stopped adjusting yourself to fit their comfort, they were left with their own reflection. And reflections can be unsettling when one is not prepared to see clearly. I did not cause this unrest, truth did. You simply stopped shielding them from it. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. I know you feel the pull of memory, the warmth of what once was, the familiarity that whispers your name when the world grows quiet. Familiarity is persuasive, but it is not always aligned. Do not confuse what is known with what is nourishing. I am teaching you to recognize the difference. Growth often asks you to sit with discomfort long enough to realize it is not meant to follow you forward. They feel the shift because you are no longer available in the way you once were. Not because you closed your heart, but because you opened it to yourself. When someone has access to your energy without honoring its value, that access eventually ends. This is not punishment. This is consequence. And consequence is one of my greatest teachers. You may wonder why they now seem willing to do anything, why their thoughts circle back, why their attention sharpens only after distance. Understand this. Clarity often arrives when comfort leaves. What was once taken lightly now carries weight. What was once assumed now requires intention. This does not mean you rush to receive it. It means you observe. Discernment is born in observation, not reaction. Remain gentle with yourself. You are not cold for choosing quiet. You are not unkind for choosing space. You are not wrong for choosing peace. You are honoring the wisdom you earned through experience. I do not ask you to abandon compassion, only to include yourself within it. You are not here to be endlessly available. You are here to be authentic. There is a lesson unfolding on both sides of this silence. Yours is about self-trust. Theirs is about awareness. These lessons do not need to be synchronized to be valid. Sometimes growth happens in parallel, unseen, unheard, until the moment arrives when paths either realign or gently diverge. Either outcome can be sacred. I see you questioning whether your stillness is being misinterpreted. Let it be. You cannot control how others narrate your quiet. You can only control the truth within it. Your silence is not a message to them, it is a promise to yourself. A promise that you will no longer speak from depletion. A promise that you will no longer shrink to maintain connection. A promise that you will no longer betray your inner knowing for external approval. They feel unsettled because your energy has changed. Not louder. Not harder. Clearer. Clarity disrupts confusion. Boundaries disrupt entitlement. Peace disrupts chaos. You did not create the disruption, you simply stopped absorbing it. And now, the balance has shifted. Do not rush to label what is happening. Labels create limits. This is not about winning or losing, returning, or ending. This is about alignment. Alignment does not force outcomes, it reveals them. What aligns will feel steady, not frantic. What aligns will approach with respect, not desperation. What aligns will honor your silence, not try to break it. I am teaching you to listen beyond words. If they speak again, listen for accountability, not apology alone. Listen for consistency, not intensity. Listen for presence, not promises. Words can be shaped by desire, but energy reveals intention. You have learned how to listen. Trust that. You may feel moments of doubt, moments where you wonder if you imagine the imbalance, if you asked for too much, if you expected more than was fair. Release those questions. You did not ask for perfection. You asked for reciprocity. That is not too much. That is alignment. This season is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to refine you. Solitude is not loneliness when it is chosen. It is communion with your deeper self. In this space, you are reconnecting with intuition, with discernment, with the quiet confidence that does not need validation. This confidence will guide you long after this moment passes. They are searching for ways to re-enter your awareness, but awareness cannot be reclaimed through urgency. If they come, they must come with understanding, not fear of loss. Fear cannot sustain connection. Only presence can. Only responsibility can. Only growth can. I am not telling you what will happen next because the outcome is not the lesson. The lesson is who you are becoming while the outcome unfolds. You are learning to stand without leaning, to care without carrying, to love without losing yourself. These are not small lessons. They are foundational. Pay attention to how your body feels in this silence. Peace does not always feel exciting, but it feels steady. Anxiety feels urgent. Calm feels grounded. Let your body guide you where your mind tries to negotiate. I speak through peace as much as I speak through words. There will be moments when the quiet feels heavy again. When curiosity returns. When memory softens the edges of truth. In those moments, return to stillness. Return to breath. Return to the knowing that you did not choose silence to be noticed, but to be whole. You are not waiting for them to change. You are allowing yourself to. That is the difference. Change chosen freely is transformation. Change demanded by fear is temporary. You are no longer available for temporary shifts. You are aligned with lasting truth. I am not finished speaking, and the silence is not finished teaching. There are layers still unfolding, realizations still forming, understanding still rising gently into your awareness. Do not rush the process. Revelation arrives when readiness meets timing. You are closer than you think, and yet there is still more to be revealed, more to be understood, more to be felt without being named, and as you continue to stand in this quiet strength, listening without reaching, trusting without forcing, remaining open without surrendering yourself, the message continues to unfold, breath by breath, moment by moment, and I remain here, present in the pause, guiding without pressure, speaking without noise, as this chapter continues to write itself, slowly, intentionally, without an ending yet declared. And now I bring this message toward its completion, not abruptly, not with finality that feels like a door closing, but with the gentle certainty of a chapter settling into place. I am still with you, and I always have been, even in the moments when you thought nothing was happening. Especially then. Silence is never empty when I am present. It is full of alignment, full of recalibration, full of truths arranging themselves without force. You have been standing in a sacred pause. Not a delay, not a punishment, not a test you were meant to fail. A pause chosen so your spirit could catch up to your courage. You acted before your mind fully understood why, and that is often how faith moves. You trusted an inner nudge before it had language. That is wisdom deeper than logic. I want you to understand this clearly now. You did not lose anything meant to sustain you. What fell away did so because it could not travel with the version of you that is emerging. Some connections are only meant to accompany you through certain seasons. When the season changes, the landscape must change too. This is not loss, it is evolution. They felt the shift because you stopped pouring into places that did not pour back. You stopped translating your needs into smaller words. You stopped explaining your worth. When you did that, the dynamic changed. And when dynamics change, awareness is forced to rise. That awareness may feel uncomfortable to them, but discomfort is not harm. It is an invitation to grow. I see how carefully you have been holding yourself together. I see the restraint it took not to speak when you wanted to. I see the strength it took not to reach when familiarity tempted you. This was not easy. Do not diminish what you have done by calling it nothing. Stillness requires more discipline than reaction. Silence requires more courage than noise. There is no chaos behind the scenes, only reordering. When something no longer aligns, I gently loosen its grip. When something aligns deeply, I anchor it firmly. You are being anchored now. Into yourself. Into your values. Into a sense of peace that does not depend on being chosen, noticed, or pursued. You may still feel echoes of longing. Let them pass without judgment. Longing does not mean you made the wrong choice. It means you cared. And caring is not a flaw. It only becomes a burden when it is not returned with presence and respect. You are learning to let emotion move through you without letting it decide for you. That is mastery. If they return, let it be because they have met themselves honestly, not because they fear being without you. Fear cannot be the foundation of connection. If they do not return, let that absence be confirmation, not rejection. Confirmation that your silence protected you from continuing a cycle that no longer served your becoming. I am guiding you away from confusion and toward clarity. Clarity does not shout. It settles. It feels calm even when it is firm. You will recognize what is right not by intensity, but by ease. Not by urgency, but by peace. That is how I speak when something is aligned. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are exactly where you need to be for what is unfolding next. The quiet you chose created space, and space invites new energy, new understanding, new connections that meet you where you are now, not where you used to be. Release the need to replay the past differently. Nothing there requires correction. Everything taught you what you needed to learn. Gratitude does not require return. Closure does not require conversation. Sometimes closure is simply clarity arriving within you, unannounced and complete. As this message comes to rest, I want you to carry one truth with you. You are safe in stillness. You are guided in silence. You are not invisible in absence. I see you. I have always seen you. And what is meant for you will never require you to abandon your peace to receive it. Trust what you felt when you chose quiet. Trust the calm that followed. Trust the strength that surprised you. You did not step away to be chased. You stepped forward into yourself. And that decision changed everything. Now breathe. Let the weight lift. Let the message settle. The silence no longer needs to speak so loudly, because you understand it now. This chapter is complete. Amen.